I'm Israel. How's it going? This is the Israelite World News Kentucky 8 podcast. We getting it in, going over the serious issues and stories that plague blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the children of the Lord. Let's get into the first story. This is the Israelite School UPK, as you know, started in 1969, 1 West 125th Street, under Commander Jenny Hanna. Let's get the first story. Illinois becomes first state in U.S. to require teaching Asian American history in schools. Wow. All that hoopla about Black Lives Matter, all the hoopla about our people coming together, all the marching, all the voting and protesting and running up and down the street, busting windows, and the Asians get to teach what they want to be taught in school. You understand? But black people don't get nothing. Let's see what the president, your president, Joe Slow Biden, had to say about it. This is him addressing Asian hate crimes and how Asians are being treated in this kingdom. Now, I'm talking about how blacks been treated for 400 years, but Asians.
Vicious hate crimes against Asian Americans who've been attacked, harassed, blamed, and scapegoated. At this very moment.
Been attacked and harassed. The only ones being attacked and harassed are black people. Asians aren't being attacked and harassed on the level of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. But this is your president, Joe Biden, fighting for the Asians, speaking for the Asians, defending the Asians. What is he doing for black people who are supposedly the ones who voted his ass in there?
So many of them are fellow Americans. They're on the front lines of this pandemic trying to save lives. And still.
Mm-hmm. Kind of slow. You know, and so it seems like he's ready to defend. He's ready to defend the Asians, but not blacks, not the Lord's chosen people, not Hispanics who sitting on the borders suffering and dying.
They're forced to live in fear for their lives, just walking down streets in America.
Black people been living in fear for 400 years.
It's un-American, and it must stop.
Mm-hmm. So this lets you know, because he had all them people saying that basically you can't do these presidents and things like that couldn't do and can't say nothing to help black people because it's a local issue, it's a police issue, it's a state issue, it's a that, it's a this and a that. 1,000 million excuses. But Joe Biden will sit here on the World Wide Web, on the internet, over the whole world, and make a proclamation saying that all the hate crimes and everything bad that's happening to the Asians must stop. But he never would say nothing like that for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And he never thinks of, and he's not worried about saying nothing like that for us. You worried about putting him in office, and he ain't even worried about making a mention of you and your suffering. Black man, Hispanic man, Native American man are suffering. Let's read this. Governor, let me pull the story up. Governor J.B. Pitzer signed a law on Friday that makes Illinois the first state in the U.S. to require its public schools to teach Asian American history. They are required. That means they don't have a damn choice. It's teachers or nothing. They don't have a choice. They're going to teach that Asian history same way they teach that so-called Jewish Holocaust BS history. So, but they will stop teaching of black history. The law mandates every public elementary and high school in the state to devote a unit of curriculum to the history of Asian Americans in the United States. It takes effect on January 1st, 2022. We are setting a new standard for what it means to truly reckon with our history, Bitzer said in a statement. It's a new standard that helps us understand one another and ultimately to move ourselves closer to the nation of our ideals. While blacks is dying and black schools are getting shut down in Chicago, they're making sure that Asian history gets taught in the schools. The governor signed House Bill 376, better known as Teaching Equitable Asian American History, or TEACH Act. The legislation states the school curriculum for the school year 2022 and 2023 must include the events of Asian American history, including the history of Asian Americans in Illinois and the Midwest, as well as the contributions of Asian Americans toward advancing civil rights from the 19th century onward. What the hell are they freaking talking about? What contributions that the Asian communities did the Asian communities contribute to the civil rights movement? What are they talking about? But this is more the BS of the white man, of the oppressor. You understand? This is more of his BS, more of his lies, more of his, like I said, more of his lies. Let's get more. These events shall include the contributions made by individual Asian Americans in the governments and arts, humanities, and sciences, as well as contributions of Asian American communities to the economic, cultural, social, and political development of the United States. Sure, well, they haven't did nothing. Blacks done far more. In a statement earlier in the year about the measure, Gong Jesuit said the TEACH Act helps create a more inclusive and comprehensive understanding of American history for all students and helps fight anti-Asian racism and xenophobia for the 100,000 Asian American K-12 students in Illinois and ensures they see themselves accurately represented. Now, you're talking about 100,000 students in a pool of millions in the state of Illinois. Millions. There's damn near millions of black students. More than 100,000. But you can't get critical race theory be taught. That's because they don't want to teach black history. They want to teach Asian history. They want to fight for the Asians' rights. They don't give a damn about you, black man, about us. From all backgrounds need to learn about the history of people from different cultures and ethnicities to help them understand the systematic inequalities that exist today. Oh, so basically they said that critical race theory was wrong for blacks to teach about race and teach on race and what's going on today regarding race, but you can teach what's going on today regarding race when it comes to Asians. That's the hypocrisy, man. That's the hypocrisy. This is why we should separate from these people. The TEACH Act will build on the inclusive curriculum measures we passed last year and ensure that Asian American history will be taught alongside the history of other historically marginalized groups. The country has experienced a rise in hate crimes against Asian Americans over the past year. The bill's supporters cited more education about Asian American history could help prevent these attacks. So, the people in Congress that supported Bill 376 in Illinois believe teaching more Asian history could help prevent Asian attacks. So, but you will, mind you, they will prevent you from teaching black history. Why? Because they want to continue black attacks against blacks. When it comes down to it, that's what it's about. When it comes down to it, it's about destroying the Lord's chosen people, oppressing the Lord's chosen people. It's not about saving the Lord's chosen people or justice or righteousness or anything like that. It's about continuing the hatred and continuing the destruction of the Lord's chosen people. That's why they wouldn't teach it, but they will teach it for the Asians because they want to stop the Asians from being attacked. They want to see the Asians safe. They don't want to see you safe, black man. They don't want to see your people safe. They want to see you attacked in on the streets. They want people to be not know your history so they can easily marginalize you, push you to the side, push you to the corner. They want our children to be ignorant of the history, which is fine. That's why we got to teach our own children. We got to teach our own people. We got to teach our own history because these heathens are not going to do it. And it's foolish and wrong for us to expect them to do it also. It's time to come back to the Most High. Come to the Israelite School UPK and learn these laws, learn about these laws, statutes, commandments. Death Valley hits 130 degrees as heat wave sweeps the west. Temperatures were boiling from Utah to California as another heat dome led western states to set up cooling centers and issue metal vouchers. All right, there's not much on that story as far as that we can pick up and read. But basically, they had record-breaking heat. There's been a lot of record-breaking incidents going on with the weather. That's these natural disasters that that the Lord spoke about when He said He's going to bring destruction on this world. He's talking about these natural disasters as well. They all going to play a part into breaking down the oppressor. They just had a major flood in Germany and all throughout parts of Europe, I believe in Netherlands as well, flooding out tons of millions of damage and property. The 130 degrees heat in the West, the droughts, the hurricanes, the winter storms, heat waves. All these things are signs from the Most High, signs that the world is angry. You understand? That the earth is angry and is ready for a new leadership on this earth. Okay, the oppressor has destroyed the earth so much that it has thrown off the very fabric of the weather, the very fabric of the earth, of the climate. That's why they talk about climate control and things like that. Janet Yellen warns that coronavirus variants threaten the global recovery. Treasury Secretary Janet L. Yellen said on Saturday that she was. Hold on a sec. I'm gonna have to pull up the article on a different one because it's bringing it up all this damn time. It always does this. Let's see if I can look in real quick. Let me see. Okay. All right. Let's see. See if I can pull this damn thing back up. All right. Janelle Yellen warns. Let me see if I got to log in one more time. Be patient with me, just for sec. All right, it's not working for that article, New York Times article. They're very picky on their articles. You're gonna have to get a subscription to get their articles. I don't know how they keep popping up. So, okay. Uncle of U.S. citizen accused in Haiti assassination. Thinks someone played on his mind. It's not the James I know. The uncle of one of the two U.S. citizens who have been arrested in connection assassination of Haitian Jovenel Moise told Insider Friday that he believes his nephew may have been duped into joining the international killing plot. He's a good boy, respectfully. Schubert Doresme, a 63-year-old Florida resident, told Insider of his 35-year-old nephew, James Solages. Doresme said Solages was always working hard, adding, I think somebody played on his mind for him to do something like that. It's not him, Doresme said. It's not the James I know. He added, he's a guy who got a lot of respect for everybody. Haitian authorities arrested Solanges, another Haitian American, and more than a dozen others in connection with the Wednesday killing of Moise at the president's home in the Pelerin 5 neighborhood. Gunmen stormed into Moise's residence, assassinated him, and critically wounded his wife. Interim Minister Claude Joseph said Jovenel Moise was killed during a highly coordinated attack by a highly trained and heavily armed group. Solange's arrest in connection with the high-profile killing came as a total surprise to Dorisme, who said, adding that Solange, a father of 4 young children, had no military training. Now, this guy is somebody, this is what brings a lot of things to light. You talking about a guy who has no military training, but yet he stormed the president's villa? Come on, man. It don't work like that. They could have these all people they put out there and marched in front of the cameras saying that they were the ones who killed the president, the Haitian president. That all could be bullshit. That all could be bullshit. Those could be just random guys they threw in there to take the blame for the fall of it. That's what kind of people we dealing with. They will throw just a group of people under the bus. You understand? Because you're talking about a guy who has no military training. Now, I don't know for a fact. Nobody knows for a fact if these little guys. They still got to go through trial and this and that. But understand that the powers that be, the oppressor, the devil the Bible speaks of, has no problem lying about murder, man. Has no problem lying about murder. He never got involved in anything like this. Never got problems with the police, Dorisme said. He may be a man, but he seems like a boy. He looks like somebody's using him. On a bio page for a Haiti-focused charity Solanges had established, he was listed as a former chief commander of bodyguards for the Canadian embassy in Haiti. Dorisme said the last time he saw Solanges was 2 months ago at his wife's home in Florida. We eat. We're always talking about sports and soccer, Dorisme said. We talk about politics in Haiti. We talk about the family. Dorisme added he didn't talk to me about any plan to kill Moise. If he talked about it, I would stop him, Dorisme said, adding that he was shocked when he found out Solange was arrested. I wake up, and for me, it was like my son killed my brother, said Dorisme, who was born in Haiti but has lived in the U.S. for the past 35 years. I love my president, and I love James Solanges. Solange, also a South Florida resident, used Dorisme's home to receive mail and regularly traveled back to Haiti. He got his charity in Haiti, helping people in Southeast Haiti. He always goes down there, Dorisme added. I just cannot believe it. How can this thing happen? And that's what we're dealing with, man. We're dealing with uncertainty of what is the truth. Somebody asks, what's the truth of the matter? When it comes to the white man, when it comes to what he's doing across the world, it's almost impossible to pinpoint the truth because he has so many lies. All he does is lie. All the white man does is lie and steal and kill and destroy on the earth. So there's no way we could find out the truth from this man. He is the father of, the scripture says, he's the father of lies. And when he tells a lie, he speaketh of his own, which basically means he's always going to lie for himself. Okay. Now we got a couple more good stories. We're going to end this about 9:45. This is a good one right here. Let's pull it up. All right. Go. Air Force to send dozens of F-22 fighter jets to the Pacific amid rising tensions with China. Here we go. Scriptures talk about wars and rumors of wars. This is the big mamma jamma right here. If war were to pop off between America and China, it would definitely bring in closer the destruction of World War III. It would definitely usher it in faster. The U.S. Air Force announced to send more than 2 dozen. Hold on one sec. All right, let's get back to the story. Air Force announced it will send more than 2 dozen. That's 24, more than 24 F-22 fighter jets to an exercise in the West Pacific. Why it matters? Analysts say that sending that many jets sends a clear message to China as tensions between Beijing and Washington escalate. The Pacific Air Force is demonstrating that it can deploy as many or more fifth generation aircraft into the theater on a short notice than China currently has in its entire inventory. Carl Schuster, a defense analyst, told CNN, adding that China has between 20 to 24 operational fighter jets. In comparison, the U.S. has around 180 F 22 jets. Approximately 25 jets from will be deployed to Guam and the Tiananmen Islands this month to participate in Operation Pacific Iron 2021. The exercise will operate in small airfields, so lessons learned in the exercise could be applied to operating from smaller airports on islands around the Western Pacific. What they're saying, we have never had this many Raptors deployed together in the Pacific Force's area of operations, the commander said. And the F-22 is considered the first fifth generation fighter in the Air Force inventory and to be one of the most advanced fighter planes per military.com. Now, let me tell you why this is significant. Okay? This is significant because sending those planes sending those planes to the field of war where a possible war would jump off is a clear signal. And China has around 24 jets, which they're sending more than 24 over there. But even if China did have that many right now, you know how quickly China could develop and create a whole army of jets, a whole armada of jets with its many factories in China, with its many with its force of manpower. If they were to convert into a war machine, they would have hundreds of jets overnight. Maybe even hundreds, maybe even thousands of jets overnight. They have that type of capability as a nation. They don't focus on just building up armies and warplanes as America does. But if they were to go into that, then they would definitely be able to come up with the planes with the amount of jets to fight. And as they see these jets coming from America testing in their area, they will definitely make sure that they have a plan where if it were to go down, that they will quickly make jets. They will quickly be ready to fight. So this right here, this type of provocation creates more war preparation. And the more war preparation, the more things are likely to happen. Because the Bible already prophesies World War III is coming. It didn't say when, it didn't say where. It actually did say where. The Valley of Decision, Valley of Jehoshaphat, um, which is in the Middle East, Armageddon. But it didn't say when. It didn't say when World War III would pop off. So, as the children of the Most High, who serve the Most High, we wait and we watch for the signs. We watch for the signs of His coming, of Christ's return. Okay. All right. Let's get one more story. Uh, okay. Let's get this story. Pull it up. This is a really good story. This is more proof about what's going on with our people and what we're suffering in this place that everybody wants to minimize and downplay. NYPD officers swarm and tase black man on subway after accusing him of letting someone on without paying fare. Now you talking about some goddamn turnstops on a dumb subway that tons of people hop over every day. So listen to the story. There's always going to be a rift between black people and police officers as long as cops believe even the slightest challenge to their authority warrants their reckless aggression and use of force, no matter how minor the original offense was. Officers with the New York City Police Department became a perfect picture of what I mean on July 6th. They swarmed a black man on the subway and tased him, all over a train fare dispute involving another passenger and a black man's unwillingness to immediately bend to the will of officers, who he appears to believe are the ones who are out of line. According to NBC News, David Crowell, 29, was arrested on charges that include resisting arrest, obstructing governmental administration, and disorderly conduct. There are two videos showing parts of what happened. Body cam video released by the department shows police confronting Cowell and his initial response to their demands. Let's see if we can play some of it. So he's talking reckless to the cops, you know, saying he paid. You know, he's saying basically F you guys, I paid to get on this train. You know, so now he's showing them his back. He's putting the middle finger up to them. And now he's talking very aggressive to them. So they're not showing what their response was to this guy's verbal, him talking to them verbally aggressive. And in the Israelite School of UPK, we don't teach our brothers to argue and try to fight with lowly cops on the streets, man. Don't argue and fight with them on the streets. You fight laws in the court. You know, you agree with thine adversary while thou art in the way. You know, so when you run across them, you know, those are just lowly cops, man. Those are just street thugs for this kingdom. Don't worry about arguing and fighting with them, man. Just agree with them while thou art in the way, and let them go about their business. It says body worn camera footage shows the man cursing at officers refusing to exit the train. As if police officers aren't always cursing and talking reckless to civilians, they see a reason to cop an attitude. With additional officers on scene, the man continued to be arrested. Here we go. A gang of NYPD officers swarmed into a train, jumped on, and tased a young black man. They accused him of fare evasion, and many witnesses on the train tried to explain to the cops that he did pay his fare. So it wasn't about the fare. It was basically they just didn't like this cat. They didn't like how they was talking to him and this and that. So they called for as much backup as they could get to try to jump on him. This is them jumping on him. You know, they got all their backup now, so there's no more talking now. Look, we got backup. We got all our guys now. We can get you now, guy. Let's tase you. Look at him. They trying to get him now. See? All this because he supposedly didn't pay, a few dollars to get on this train when the witness is there saying he did pay. You know? So they're all jumping on him. You know what I mean? They're tasing them. Yep. There you go. NYPD's supposed finest. Nothing fine about that. You know, they're supposed to be out solving serious crimes, but all they're really doing is just harassing everyday black people, harassing everyday black men on the streets, on the train. Joe Biden said Asians shouldn't have to live in fear for their lives on the streets. What about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans? So I guess we should live in fear of our lives on the streets. We get on a train and we get harassed, and 20 cops show up. This is what the cop force is about. You wonder why crime doesn't go down? It's because the cops suck. The cops are not worried about crime. They're worried about black men, Hispanic men, Native American men, and if they're paying their train fare. That's what they're worried about. They're worried about if this man paid his train fare or not. That's why crime doesn't stop. That's why crime doesn't go down. Because you have such inadequate cops. You have such racist cops that don't know how to stop crime. All they know how to do is harass black men, harass black women, harass blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. That's really all they know how to do. If all their job description really should say is, are you okay with messing with and annoying black people, Hispanic people, Native American people? If that's something that excites you, you got a job. You should be on the force because that's all they do. They don't have a higher goal and higher stopping. They're not stopping hardly any crime. They're not advancing themselves. They're not stopping hardly any cyber crimes. They're not stopping any white collar crimes. All they're worried about is a black man on a damn train and if he paid his train bill to get on to ride up and down the damn subway train. And the witnesses on the scene said he did. Nobody basically even said he didn't. Based on the footage, there appears to be confusion as to who officers are accusing of catching a free ride, as crowd can be heard repeatedly telling officers, "I paid," and other riders are also heard confirming that they saw him pay his fare. Police say they were actually accusing Crowell of letting someone else in the station without paying, and that person did pay his fare after officers confronted him. Regardless of who didn't pay what, it really seems like officers were egregiously overreacting. This really seemed to be more about fragile blue egos than it was about somebody getting a free ride. Yeah, that's sure what it's about, man. They fragile blue egos, man. The cops are very, very small men, man. They're very, very small, petty men. They run around with a badge and expecting everybody to give them the utmost respect, but they don't give them nothing to respect. They sell drugs. They're dirty cops, but they want everybody to give them the utmost respect. These ain't the fucking movies, man. You're not no motherfucking Detective Starsky and Hutch or nothing like that. We're not about to sit. Black people are not about to sit and show you all this love and honor and glory that you think you should get. You don't deserve none of it. You don't do your job. All you do is harass blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's why people hate the police. That's why people can't stand you. That's why they talk about you. That's why they berate you. That's why they insult you. If you were to do your job and arrest the real criminals, then it wouldn't be a problem. But like I said, they're more bullies and they're very small men. They're very small men and they can't handle the slightest offense. And like I said, it's not our job to slightly offend them. Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, our job is not to offend the police and to get into it with these lowly street thug cops. That's a waste of time. Christ said, "Agree with thine adversary whilst thou art in the way," which means, yeah, agree with the cop. Say, yeah, go ahead and do this and that. Check the bill, check the cow, check the fare, and go on with your day. Because these guys are very small and petty, and and their only job is to harass you. If you don't give them nothing to harass, then they have no job. Then we can slowly get rid of these cops because they won't have nobody to arrest. That's how you defeat these cops, man. That's how you put a dent into these devils. By not committing crimes. They accuse you of not paying your fare. and you did pay your fare, pay it again. You understand? Pay another fare and tell them and show the cop that he has nothing against you. He has nothing for you. You understand? Show that cop that he can't arrest you, he can't touch you, he can't do nothing to you. You're an upstanding citizen. You keep all the laws. Show that cop that he ain't shit. You understand? And that's how you do it. By him trying to falsely accuse you of crimes and make you seem to be a criminal, you show him that you're not a criminal. You above the law because you keep all the laws, statutes, and commandments. And you keep the laws of the land. So he can't touch you. And if he does touch you, then he has to worry about the Most High. So you want to always be in the correct. You always want to be in the right. And don't play into their bullshit weak games. This is how we defeat them. This is how we stand against them. Not by arguing and fighting and tussling with them on trains. You understand? And cussing them out. The brother was wrongly accused. And from that, everything that led followed after that. But it's time for us to wake up and be wiser and be smarter and understand that the white man is the devil the Bible speaks of. And he will continually to harass you. He will continue to come after you in every single way possible. He'll leave the real criminals go. The real criminals is going free. It's the regular everyday black man that they really trying to come after. Because they're not equipped to really fight crime. They're only equipped to harass the innocent. So it's time to get right with the Most High. We only got a little bit of time left. This is Israelite World News, Kentucky 8 Podcast. Come learn the truth. Learn the stories that are affecting your people. Learn about what's going on with your people. Get right with the Most High. Get into the Israelite School of UPK. Attend classes. Learn this truth. And with that said, shalom.